If a cop stopped a terrorist attack, yes.
Okay.
What
Then
essentially happened in LA was a terrorist attack.
sure. So then let me ask you this, David. In 1996, a security guard discovered a pipe bomb at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta, stopped it, and saved a bunch of people. What was his name?
Is that Richard Jewell?
Fuck!
There's
Fuck.
a fucking movie named after him. He was investigated by the FBI, and you thought I
Fuck.
was going to remember Richard Jewell?
Fuck!
That was your ace in the hole, you fucking idiot.
I finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched.
I
finally
Watched.
I
finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. I'm Milan.
And this is David, and today I finally watched Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Sequel month, baby. So we did Die Hard like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, something. And from what I remember, it was your first time watching it. Again, me and these franchises, Rambo, Die Hard. I'm glad you're finally catching up. And if I remember correctly, you liked the first one pretty damn well.
I did, yeah, I liked it a lot. This is interesting in that the second one feels like vastly inferior in some ways. Like the writing of it, I kept like just like I was like, what decision making is going on in John McClane's head right now?
Well, it's all downhill from here, baby.
It gets worse.
Oh yeah. I mean, the first two are the strongest in the franchise.
I've seen Live Free or Die Hard. I think I liked that better than 2.
Okay, so I thought so too. I watched it recently, like a couple months ago, and
Yeah.
it does not hold up.
Well, that's also possible because I saw it in theaters and I have not watched it since.
It is weirdly structured and just very like you think this is weird decisions. That is very odd decisions.
So this movie is like a very mixed bag to me in that there's a lot of things where I'm like, that's weird. That's a weird choice. And then it has this General Grant twist, which I thought was actually like amazing.
I thought it was great, right? I thought that's when the movie really picked up because I have such a like a uh, revere for this movie. Like I love this movie,
Yeah.
and watching it again, I watched it with my sister-in-law, who I'm showing her the Die Hard slowly but
Yeah.
surely, and I got kind of nervous in the beginning showing this to someone because I was like, "Oh, I like it, but it's not as good nor as fast paced as the other one. Like the setup and the like get to the fucking point of this movie, I feel like takes so long to get to. So I was getting kind of nervous showing this to someone where I was like, "Oh, this is a great movie," and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Is it?" And then the General Grant twist, I was like, "Nah, fuck it. This is a great movie."
Well, so what they do in the beginning is they treat this as a mystery of like how, obviously, they're trying to free this. I mean, he's like Noriega is what this guy is supposed to be
Yeah,
like
pretty
it,
much
but
Chavez or something.
yeah. Anyway, we're not going to talk about South Central American politics, but so they're going to free this guy, but it's like, how are they going to do it? And they treat how they're going to do it as almost like a mystery. Like as the audience, you're kind of glued to it because you're like, all right, what is happening? What are they doing? Why are they in the baggage claim? What are they doing with this? And it slowly reveals itself. And then you're also kind of, it's funny that it's a little bit of a slow burn. You're also like, all right, how is John McClane gonna catch this? He crosses paths with the general. Then he sees these two guys and he's like, they're acting weird.
Yeah.
Let me tell the cops, oh, it's this guy who I've had a run-in with, so I guess I'll just handle it myself. And then when everything sort of reveals itself, it sort of picks up, but then you're like, it is like that middle bit. You're kind of like, all right, well, what are we doing here?
Well-
What are we trying to get to? And I
Yeah.
think that I just think there's like it's a mixed bag movie that because of like the star power of Bruce Willis, like he's just like I don't know if you can say like, oh, he's like a great actor when you like come up with your like top four or whatever, but he's like the definition of like a movie star where he can just like carry the movie and be like a presence and be like, I'm gonna continue to watch this guy because he's
Well,
entertaining.
I think you're absolutely right, but just like the difference of quality between this one and the last one, I think the reason the last one is almost like a perfect action flick has a lot to do with Alan Rickman, right? And
When you said the
and for the
last when you said the last one, I thought you meant like what is it? It's
oh,
like
it's
what's the
horrible.
last what is it the fifth one called? I've never saw it. I've heard it's
Uh,
really, really bad.
it's in Russia. It takes place in Russia. It's really bad. It's literally, I'll tell you this, and this is all I want to speak of it right now. It's a character assassination to John McClane. It's like, oh, this is who you think he is in like the four movies leading up to it, and then it's like, nah, it's he's this different. It's a whole different character he's playing, and it's just like, why, right? I didn't even
Right.
finish it. I got 30 minutes into it. I'm like, this is so bad. I'm pretty sure the budget was nothing. I'm pretty sure they had to shoot it in like Eastern Europe, some for
It's a good day to die hard is
they
what
did
it's
that.
called.
It's with Jai Courtney, who I don't think is that great of an actor, who plays his son, right? And then it's in
Jack
Russia.
Jack Courtney actually has a little bit of a Bruce Willis thing going on where he I think has a good presence in movies. He does like I really like him as the bad guy in the Jack Reacher movie.
I don't even remember for with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay, see, but the thing is, though, it's like apart from Bruce Willis and Jai Courtney, everyone else is like a Russian actor, and they are like badly dubbed into the movie. It's a hard watch. I'll tell you that. Anywho, going back to this, the first one, Alan Rickman, I think carries a lot of the movie along with Bruce Willis. I don't find the same charisma with this villain.
Stewart.
Yeah.
What movie have we done with Commander Stewart?
Uh,
He is
Few
one of
Good
the
Men.
he is one of the prisoners in Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you recognize Stewart's like right hand man?
No.
He's the Terminator in Terminator 2, the silver.
Oh no, I recognize that guy, but he's not his right hand. He's one of the guys, but his right hand man is this is Garber, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Okay, whatever.
I recognize the T-1000 for sure.
Yeah.
And then I always name myself after one of the characters in the movie, like a character you do you know who plays Burke, the character I'm named after?
I'm trying to remember who Burke is.
Yeah, you wouldn't. It's John Leguizamo, which I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know in the film at all, but I was reading afterwards that his part got severely cut down. He said because it was so short and the guys didn't realize how short of an actor he was. And then they also just dubbed over his line to have someone else say it. So you don't
Wait,
hear
where is he in the movie?
he's one of the bad guys and he has like I did not recognize him. Like I did not see him.
Oh. Is it, maybe he gets killed right away in that like the bottleneck of the
He gets
airport
killed in the
thing?
church, I think.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But who gets
Which no,
no one
yeah,
gets killed in the church.
I don't know where he gets killed then.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay. That's fine. Maybe he's in the airplane at the end. Who knows? So, what's interesting about the villain is that it's like it has multiple villains. So you have the main general guy, right? Or the colonel.
Yeah.
And then you have like the South American drug lord that's like coming in to the States. And then you have surprise villain in General Grant. So you have three villains in this movie, and what's kind of awesome is like John McClane has a chance to go up against all three of them.
I mean, really, the true villain is conservatism and the fight against communism. That's the real villain
Sure,
of the movie.
sure. I was showing this to my sister-in-law, like I mentioned, and she was like, "What is this? Another Christmas party? Is his wife held hostage again?" And I'm like, kinda.
I think his wife, you could have cut all of her parts out of the movie.
Oh, I loved it. Nope, I loved it.
It's useless.
I don't care. I love it.
W-
When she ends up being on the same row as the jerk off news reporter guy from the first movie, and he's scared of her, and then the tasing thing. Although the only thing I would change in that is that before, like, I wanted her to catch wind of him broadcasting the plane crashing and causing the panic in the airport.
Yeah.
It would have been cool for her to like tase him before he caused all the panic in the airport, but whatever.
I mean, so she pulls out that, the old lady shows her the taser, which you couldn't even get on a plane anyway. And then
Well,
she
you
pulls,
could in 1990.
I don't think so. She then pulls it, there was some airport security. I don't think he just, like, anyway. She then pulls it out on the plane. And I was like, is she gonna, like, are the bad guys gonna get
Right.
her and she's gonna
Somehow.
tase one of them? And it's like, no, she's just gonna tase this news reporter that she doesn't like because he's reporting the news in a way that she doesn't think is right.
He endangered her children.
Her children were in a Washington D.C. suburb with her parents. They were nowhere near this.
No, no, in the first movie. That's why she
Oh,
doesn't
right,
like
right,
him.
right, 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 right.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. I think the whole thing with her on the plane is pretty useless. And it turns out like, yes, she was in danger, but it's never like I expected at some point the terrorists to be like, John McClane, like, can we get a hold of some manifest? Oh, his wife is on the, you know what I mean? And obviously that would be pretty far fetched, but I expected something with them like, we're gonna crash her plane. The one of those
Yeah.
like one of the most surprising things is that one plane we see all the passengers and it just fucking kills them all.
Yeah, right? Right? Isn't that
Shocking,
crazy?
very shocking.
Yeah, you have the little girl makes an impact because she has the doll, and then the old lady makes an impact, and those people are dead.
Yeah. Well, some of 'em might, but yeah, there's no
No.
survivors. The director wanted that in and had to fight for it, and the studio was like, "You cannot do it. You cannot do it." Like, and then finally they're like, "All right, you can do it, but you have to cut like a lot of the carnage out of it." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I agree with that."
What was the carnage? Was he gonna shoot it like Final Destination, where it's like the camera's in the plane as it's crashing, and you have like people burning alive?
No, I think he was going to show like the after the crash, like the aftermath, like there was going to be
Oh,
some.
like the burned bodies? Yeah,
Yeah,
because all you saw was like the little girl's doll.
yeah, there was apparently like, which is you fucking killing a kid in a movie is yeah, like it's kind of a little bit taboo. So,
I
um,
think I think they killed a lot of kids. I think there were a lot of kids in that plane. I'm
I
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that plane carried like the Ronald McDonald House of dying children. Well,
you
yeah,
happy with? Are you happy with that comment?
yeah.
You good? You just kept going. Anyway, yeah, that was shocking. Like so, there are moments in this movie, and I think we can probably just start going through it. But it is to me, it is below the first one. I was gonna watch. I like the movie overall. I'm gonna say that I was gonna watch it again to be like, does this movie make more sense than I'm giving it credit for? But then I started over and I was like, honestly, I don't feel like it's not the type of movie I wanted to rewatch like immediately.
Really,
Yeah, I was just because it's so slow.
it is slow, and you're
And
right about the
John
wife.
McClane isn't doing a whole lot. He's not really involved. Like it is a very weird plot that it's too long. It needs to be 20-25 minutes shorter too.
I can see that definitely in the beginning. I mean, there's a part like where he goes down into the sub basement boiler room area and he makes friends with Marvin the janitor, and like that whole relationship lingers way too long on
Yeah.
like it makes sense on, oh, he's finding the radio with the code typed in, but you need like one scene. You don't need w- as much as they had with that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, now there are a lot of cool like action sequences. They're too far in between, right? Like he's not, he has the scene where they go into that one area with like the guys that are pretending to be painters and like he
Yeah,
has that shootout.
for
And
sure.
then the cockpit scene which I find weird and then, sort of the church and then the ending. I guess the snowmobile chase too, but it's just like it's not enough. There's like so much talking in rooms with like people. And I'm like, go
So
go kill some people.
so well, I think what's interesting about this too, and then I think we need to start like breaking it down. But I feel like he tries to save more people than kill people in this movie. Like he's more proactive and like, okay, I have to stop this plane from crashing. Okay, I have to stop these SWAT guys from dying. Okay, I got to go, stop people from dying instead of being like, I have to kill the people that are going to cause the people to die.
Yeah. The other thing too is the last thing is, and we can talk about it more as we get to it, is his motivation for stopping them. Like in the end, he's like, "We got to stop them." He's like, put that helicopter in front of the plane," and the guy's like, "I'm not going to do that." And he's like, "My wife is on one of those planes up there," and I was like, the movie doesn't do a good job of explaining why stopping these bad guys is going to help out his wife. And the way it does help out his wife is pretty convoluted and isn't like something that you could plan for. Like by making that plane crash, the fire like lights up a runway, but obviously
Fucking
not.
awesome.
I know it's cool, but like not something you could plan for. And I'm like, you needed like a line from the bad guys, and maybe I missed it where they're just like, yeah, like we'll give you back your equipment. We'll turn off whatever is blocking your equipment once we make it into the airspace or whatever. And he's like, they're never gonna do that. They're gonna let all these planes die. So, like why he's stopping them, I have no idea what the motivation for that is, other than I stop bad guys. But he makes it seem as if I need to stop them in order to save my wife, and I don't think that connection's ever made.
Well, what's weird, and let's just start talking in the begin from the beginning of the movie, is his blatant like I want to handle this my way sort of attitude
Yeah,
towards that was kind of off-putting for me, honestly. Like when he was gonna tell the cops, realizes that, oh, it's that jerk off cop that wouldn't give me a break with my mother-in-law's car and I got a ticket and whatever. All of a sudden, he's like says some shit about Elvis and goes to take care of it himself. But then he tells like the custodian to go get the airport cops.
yeah, I think because he's like, these guys aren't going to believe me, but if they catch us in me dealing with these guys in the act, they'll come. And I do think it's like he kind of establishes like, this cop who I'm about to tell about this, I had a run in with him earlier. He didn't help me out then, so he's not going to believe me now. He's going to think I'm kind of an asshole because we had that disagreement. So to me, it sort of makes sense that he was like, all right, I guess I have to do this myself. It starts off then with our bad guy doing naked Tai Chi.
Uh-huh.
So the director wanted this, and the guy was like, I really don't want to do this, but if I do it, you have to let me film it last. And then the entire time they're filming the movie, he was like getting into shape so he could look good for his naked scene.
Okay. I mean, okay. And it definitely like puts you in a like puts you as the audience in his head a little bit.
Yeah. So, and then I made that joke about this being like, a anti like conservative movie. There's like one line where one of the guys, as the reporter's like, "Hey, can you talk to him?" And he's like, "Shut up, you pinko bitch." That line was just ad libbed. The guy just like the guy that said it to her, it was not in the script. He just did it, so they left it in, which is
Wow.
like a pretty bold move, Cotton. So after this, we like there's a bunch of like I describe this as like a mystery, right? So it's like there's a guy in a church, he gets killed, right? And you're like, what does this church have to do with anything?
Yeah.
And then McClane notices the guy's acting weird, goes to the cop, goes to the cops, and then he's like, all right, well, fuck it, I'll just do it myself. The cop says the line, "Fucking tourists, there should be a law." What does that mean? What does that even mean? That's not even a full thought, much less a sentence. There should be a law. So he follows these guys around. Pretty cool, like little gun battle that then turns into this. The guy's head goes in the thing that like smashes the bags, and I was like, "There's plenty of room in this to not kill him." It just like it seemed like it would just kind of hurt, like it wouldn't crush him to death like it does.
I think it was cool, and I mean you have to incapacitate him somehow, right? And I'm surprised that that's your issue and not McLean ramming the second guy with the bicycle.
Actually, yeah, I thought
He's
that
like,
was
"Oh,
pretty
here's a
cool.
bicycle, convenient."
Yeah, well, whatever. I like that part. Then then where's Cochran? Didn't make it. Oh man. Oh yeah, because that's the bad guy. The bad guy's like, he goes to him and he's like, yeah, he died. And you think he's like, oh, about to shoot this guy, and he's like, just don't fuck up again. Which is, I don't know. These bad guys, they're very just like the whole setup is just like I feel like we could get a little bit more backstory on Commander Stewart.
Well, we
Like,
get that he feels betrayed by his country.
yeah, you know what we needed is we needed the Ed Harris The Rock speech.
Dude, actually, you know what we needed? We needed Ed Harris. Ed
W-
Harris as Commander Stewart would have fucking slapped.
I, but the thing is, it's I like William Sadler who plays Stewart. I think he does a great job with, but he's not given the ability to do what he needs to establish the character.
You're right. I got to stop blaming him and more blame it on the writing.
Some of the writing is bad. I've wrote down specific lines when we get to it. They specifically the right hand man to Trudeau, the black guy Barnes,
Mm-hmm.
has some of the worst explanatory dialogue in this movie that makes him sound like a fucking idiot. And it happens like several times where I feel bad for him because they fucked him with his dialogue. So we meet Dennis Franz. He's the captain of the airport police. This is like the most well-equipped airport police I've ever seen. I didn't know things like this
a
existed.
fucking armada.
This was pre 9/11. Why? Like I didn't realize it was like this.
Is this no? This isn't. Do you think it's because it's in D.C. with the president?
I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if this is real though. I don't know if this is how it'd be. I do like how he gets the prince once he realizes, oh, they just think this was a guy stealing luggage. He gets the prince, sends it to his guy from the first movie who didn't really have enough time to have a bigger part, Reginald Vell Johnson, who you know, sort of in the news for bad reasons right now. Not really bad reasons, unfortunate, I guess. So yeah, he faxes the fingerprints to him. I like the way he's flirting with the airport lady, and then she's like, "I get off, I get off soon." And she's like, "Just the fax, ma'am," which is a nice little line that he's got going there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, McClane can still get it, and the movie doesn't want you to forget that. I'm pretty sure in the first one, there's even like a thing when he's like right before getting in the taxi, which like that movie starts pretty quickly. Like he's in the tower, he's in the building pretty quick. But I'm pretty sure there was like a sly, flirty remark from someone to him. Oh, and then of course, like his wife, even though they're going through a separation, still like really digs him.
Well, no, they're not. So I was reading up on this. This is the only movie in the franchise where they're not either going through separation or divorced.
No, I'm saying in the first one.
Oh, right.
Like you still have like she's still very attracted to him. Yeah, right. And then in the third one, I think they're going through a rocky patch again, and then in the fourth one, they're just like outrightly divorced.
Yes.
Which is then it's so disappointing because that's what the whole first movie was about. Pretty much.
I mean, to me, like this is an action series so far. I mean, the first one is really great, and then the second one, it's just the writing is like, I don't know. It's kind of lacking. By the way, so there were 2 scripts that were submitted for this. I don't have the other one, but one of them was by Shane Black, and they passed on it and then turned it into
Christmas movie by Shane Black. Who would have guessed?
Well, they passed on it and then turned it into The Last Boy Scout.
A movie I still need to watch.
Yeah, well, we'll eventually do it. We got to do all of his movies. So then he gets from Al, he gets the paperwork showing that this guy who died had actually died in quotation marks 2 years earlier, and he's basically like, clearly this is a mercenary.
How did you feel about Al's cameo?
I liked it. He apparently, because of Family Matters, couldn't be in it anymore.
What happened?
He was in Family. No, he's in the show.
I know.
Son of a bitch. So the church, they get the power lines, and then McClane is like, "Yep, this is." They ask him, he's like, "Is this what you expect?" He's like, "No, this is only the beginning." And then Stewart calls in and tells him his master plan. So I love the elevator when they kick him out and he escapes through the elevator, and the reporter's just there, and he says "fuck off," and she's like, "Oh, that's what Stewart told me earlier." He's like, That's that general that was fired by Congress.
I really like that reporter lady.
How
I
so?
I know no. I think she adds like this connecting movement through the script that helps move the story along in the oddest ways, right? Like she just shows up in the tower, and of course they have to throw in the line that is like, "Hey, airport security, you got to get your fucking head out of your ass," you know? And then towards the end of the movie, they are his ride to like take down the plane.
Yeah, which is
It's just odd how like think about the movie without her. It's dead in the water. They would have to think of 1,000 different ways to get John McClane from point A to point B. But she's like constantly moving him along.
it is a weird choice though. Like I mean, it works, but it is odd. So he runs into Marvin the janitor. I really love that character.
Yeah, it's good.
He's an odd guy. Goes to the skywalk place and he's like, "Oh, it's a bottleneck. It's a perfect place for an ambush." Which John McClane is the smartest cop like ever to exist.
Well, he has to be, or everyone else is stupid. Speaking of stupid, when you're a SWAT guy and you know the airport is under a terrorist attack and you're going on like a moving walkway,
Yeah.
and the guy on the other side stops it, do you A, say, "Hey, turn that back on"? Do you B,
Well,
shoot
you're
him in the
fucking.
fucking head immediately?
You gotta at least get your gun at the ready instead of getting shot between the eyes. Yeah, that guy's a fucking idiot. I'm not
I
saying
mean,
he
they
deserves to die, but
all are, dude.
yeah. Then McClane shows up, kills the T-1000, pushes the scaffolding over on the other guy.
That's
I
if it was that easy.
Yeah, he's like it's kind of a it's, wait, yeah, so that would have that this would have come out obviously afterwards. It's kind of a fuck you to
No, this would
to
have come out before
Oh,
T2.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah, T2. I was thinking of 84 was Terminator. Yeah.
No, T2 came out in 92 or 93, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny like if this had happened after Terminator 2, like you couldn't kill the T-1000, but look, I did it with like one bullet.
But it's a role with like not even, I don't think, two speaking lines. Like was he
Does
really
he
not?
talk? I don't even remember if he
I don't even
talks.
think he does. Was he not a big actor? Like literally you're telling me like that guy 2 years later is the main villain in a Cameron movie?
Yeah, that's true. It also pushes the scaffolding over and it falls on the guy and I'm like, is that heavy enough to kill him instantaneously?
If you're in a Die Hard movie it is.
And then I think pushing the walkaway button to turn it back on to have your gun come to you is pretty fucking sweet. Like the
Yep.
action saves the movie. Like
Oh, 100%.
Bruce Willis and the action does save the movie. It's just like people aren't acting logically in a
No,
lot of the
of course.
situations.
I mean, first of all, you have like the captain of the airport cops, right? Being like the biggest fucking asshole, and I love the reveal that he's the brother of the other asshole cop from the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie. It's great, but he's not acting logically. The guy, the head of the airport guy in the tower, he's like a U.S. senator now. Forget his name, but he's not acting logically. The only people who are acting logically, of course, McClane, but then the more techie guy up in the airport tower,
Barnes and
Barnes.
Trudeau is the guy that's running things.
Yeah, that's right. So
Fred
Trudeau,
Thompson,
who's I believe a senator.
he was at one point. He was also on Law and Order for a long time.
Hmm.
He apparently went to the guy that wrote it, Steven D'Souza, and was like, "Hey man, can we cut back on some of the cursing?" And he's like, "Oh, well, you don't like cursing?" It's like, "No, I just think it makes the movie like overly comical." So he's like one of a couple people that doesn't curse in the movie because
He's like I'm trying to get reelected here.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna be a pretty big fucking deal later on.
Has Ronald Reagan ever said "fuck" in a movie? I don't think so.
That'd be curious. So
Fuck off my plane.
that's not Ronald Reagan. So then McLean's like, hey, basically he just made Lorenzo sacrifice his best men. Then there's this walkie-talkie that has a 10-digit code, but it just happens to not be pushed in at the time. So
Right.
every time you have to say something, you're like, all right, hold on.
No, I think it's
Yeah,
like
we made it here.
No, it's like it has to be activated, but also like how many bodies did he drop? You're telling me out of like the 7 or 8 bodies that he killed, only one of them had a deactivated walkie-talkie?
I don't understand.
At this point though, I like the build of action because they're like, okay, we go through this walkway because we need to get to this like to the tarmac, which is a weird thing to do, right? Cuz why don't they just go on the other side of the airport, get in a car and drive to the satellite? But I digress. As soon as they finish this, it blows up, which I think is great because then it just shows like how smart Stewart is. Like he's thought of everything.
Yeah, it is a little bit of like a kind of an Ocean's 12 situation where it's like sort of everything is sort of like a false flag for the fact that like at the end of the day, it's like they're just escaping out of this. None of this matters. The person coming to stop them is in on it. So it's like they don't have to worry about too much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the same as the first movie is they don't expect fucking McClane to show up in
No
this.
one expects John McClane.
The fact that everyone knows who McClane is because of the first movie is a hilarious detail in this film. They're
Is this
like,
supposed to be 1 year later?
that's my question too. I was talking to my sister-in-law about this, and she goes, it is kind of weird how everyone just recognizes him so easily because first of all, you're not even in the same state in which this happened. You're at least a year out. And I asked her, and I'll ask you this. If on 9/11 Tower 1 was hit and Tower 2 was about to get hit,
What the fuck?
and a guy saves Tower 2,
From a
do you
plane?
from the plane, do you think you would know his name?
If a cop stopped a terrorist attack, yes.
Okay.
What
Then
essentially happened in LA was a terrorist attack.
sure. So then let me ask you this, David. In 1996, a security guard discovered a pipe bomb at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta, stopped it, and saved a bunch of people. What was his name?
Is that Richard Jewell?
Fuck!
There's
Fuck.
a fucking movie named after him. He was investigated by the FBI, and you thought I was going to remember Richard Jewell?
Fuck!
That was your ace in the hole, you fucking idiot.
What was the name of the captain that landed the plane successfully?
Sully?
Oh, fuck!
This is another fucking movie. I'm pretty sure it's another Clint Eastwood movie, isn't it? You,
I'm dying. I'm dying. So
maybe stop fucking with me, huh?
never mind. I guess if a cop stopped a terrorist attack in LA a year later, people would recognize him in
But also,
DC.
a ton of people died too. So yeah, like the guy who stopped the Centennial thing. First of all, that was the Centennial thing was 29 years ago. This was a year ago in Die Hard movie time.
Allegedly, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so the Stewart making the plane think that it's like 200. He's like, all right, yeah, you can land, and it's like 200 feet below. He messes with the calibration or whatever. I was like, that's geniusly evil. And I also the whole time was like, obviously John McClane's going to stop this. And we talked about the beginning, but just it was shocking that it happened.
I think it was cool the length of what John McClane thought.
John McCain.
John
McCain would have allowed no one to die. So
John McCain would have saved them.
You know what also is a crazy decision on this, to interrupt you, is like crashing a plane is one thing, showing the pilots is one thing, having a scene showing old ladies and little kids right before you murder them all is kind of crazy, because you could have crashed like a plane full of faceless people that we never saw. Yeah. But he's like, no, look at all these people I'm about to kill.
Yeah, I think the old lady had like a line about how nervous she was being on the
She should
plane.
have been.
And then they showed the little girl holding a doll, which then later you see that same doll on fire. So you're like, that little girl is also on fire. It is insane. But it does paint the villain as like a true blue villain, right? This is like a guy you now want to see dead. The audience will not be satisfied until he is dead. And what it
Did you
also
did you actually feel that way about him though? Because I'm still like, eh.
really
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. It was like maybe it's because I didn't watch the movie
You know who's a
all.
bigger villain? You know who's a bigger villain? Fucking Grant just cuts that guy's neck right open, right?
That actually
And
was kind of fucking crazy.
and I thought it was kind of like actually this part of it I thought was really good writing, and it seemed at the time like a throwaway line where that guy was like, "Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be here today, but the other guy got appendicitis and now
Yeah,
I am here." And
he's
it
like,
was
I
such a
wish he was like, I wish I was with you guys earlier. He's like, yeah, I wish you were too.
yeah, it was such a quick line, and it was like, Why?" And then you find out, oh, it's because they're all in on the mission, and because this guy is basically a sub, he is not like with them. He's not a traitor to his country, right? So he wouldn't be cool with it. I don't know. They didn't even ask him. Like they should have probably been like, "Hey, we're about to like go to Cabo forever. Are you cool with that?" He might have said, "Yeah."
So this is when after this, McLean's like, I feel pretty fucking useless, and he's like, well, your wife's plane's gonna run out of fuel in 90 minutes, so get your shit together. And then John Amos, who plays Grant, shows up. Apparently, him and uh, Bruce Willis did not get along, but
That the guy whose like grandfather made famous Amos cookies.
no, he is no, he's not that guy.
Okay.
Maybe I don't think that's what he's known for, but no, that's not him.
Hmm.
He was in Coming to America and Good Times.
Good
Whenever I think,
times.
whenever I think of Good Times, I just think of the Family Guy's like sketch where she's like, "My name is Florida. That's the name of a state. Why am I named Florida?" So this is where they give the guy that plays Barnes horrible fucking dialogue. He's like, "The outer marker, it's a beacon.
Yeah.
It sends out a beep, 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 beep. We can control those bastards who did this will never know."
I mean, it's a way to give exposition, but it's
It is, yeah. It's
not a
just, but
very
it's
good
bad.
way.
It's bad writing. So he tells the planes. He uses the beacon. Immediately, it works too. Everything this guy tries works. Barnes is a fucking genius. Should be running the airport, obviously. But
Obviously.
he tells the planes what happened. The reporter is listening in, and then it's like a fucking fourth wall break with the reporter staring at the camera, like, "Oh my god!" And he stares directly into our souls. The reporter, like when he's listening to it,
On the plane. Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't really feel like that was a fourth wall break, but okay.
looked pretty close. So next, the dictator lands the plane, almost runs over John McClane, and then this is where I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So he
No,
shoots the dictator, and he's like, I'm gonna trade you for my wife, and then immediately leaves the dictator to hide in the cockpit.
he was being shot at.
But like, you just shot the dictator, get behind him and hold a fucking gun to him.
One of the most hilarious parts that my sister-in-law thought about this movie was how they used all like 17 grenades in the cockpit. Like you just need probably one because cockpit is small and it's gonna blow up the plane anyways. Like, but they're like, how many grenades do you have? And they're like, 3 each, sir. And there's like 9 people out there. So like, and literally, like, how long does it take for a grenade to go off? Because
So it says in there, it was like the grenades took 29 seconds to go off in movie time. They're supposed to only take 5 to 7 seconds. Because I was like, these should be going off by now. Like, they shouldn't have been able to throw the third one before the first
no,
one went off.
no, yep, of course. And then of course, like once the first one goes off, if there's all the other ones in there, it's a chain reaction, right?
Yeah.
It took so damn long. We waited for the whole, and also, why didn't they just like throw them in 3 at a time, like one by one by one? Just, I don't know.
Well, you can't
But
throw 3 in at a time and get them all to go in.
can I say, I know it's bad. bad CG effects. I know it did not hold up, but I just think it's so badass that he ejects himself out of that explosion.
And not a single one of those fucking bad guys noticed.
I I love it. I don't care.
No one noticed.
I love it.
They're just like, we got him. Mission accomplished, everybody. Game over.
You know what'd be funny is as they're driving away, his parachute like lands right in front of their car.
Like, someone just get out and shoot him. So as they're shooting the cockpit door, the guy that's inside, they just used a hammer on the door to like ding, like for the practical effect of the bullets hitting it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So then McClane goes back and Grant is like yelling at him. He's like, if I had Esperanza, this would be over. And Grant's like, but you fucking don't. So it's not over. Although Grant's just like fake mad. Apparently you can tell, like one of the tells that Grant's a bad guy is that whenever he yells at Stewart over the walkie-talkie, everyone's laughing because they know like, oh dude, he's really hamming it up. He's really selling this that he like hates
Oh,
us.
that's interesting. I thought so. There's a lot of dialogue when Grant shows up from Willis and McLean. I think turns to Barnes once Grant shows up and he goes, "Did things get better or did things just get worse?" Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the lines. The other line is, I think he says, "Oh, thank God." Barnes is like, "Oh, thank God the military is here," and then Willis says, "Yeah, but whose side are they really on?" Or something like that. Just little hints at things might not be what they seem to be. And I don't think that's bad dialogue. I think that's like pretty interesting dialogue.
No, and but I think it's also like almost impossible to catch. Like you'd have to be looking for it because what they do with Grant that is really cool is when he first gets there, you're like, oh, the reason he's like, did things get better, things get worse? Because he's like, oh, I think this guy's an idiot, right? Like he's not
Oh,
going to
right.
do what's right. And then Grant's like turns cool and he tells Carmine to shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of here, leave McLean alone.
Yeah.
And so you're like, that's the twist that he's actually cool. He's going to back McLean up.
Yeah.
And then bam, double twist.
And the way it is like revealed, like peeled back, is that they switch out all of their gun magazines with these blue taped ones. And you as the audience, you're like, okay, whatever. I don't, and then
I didn't even notice it really.
no, and then you notice that the bad guys also switch out all their guns with the blue tape ones, but you're still like, whatever, okay. They go through the firefight, which they make it look as real as possible. But were you at that point questioning like these are like stormtroopers?
I was
like,
literally like, what the fuck is happening? How is no one getting shot? I was like, this is
right.
pretty fucking dumb.
But the fact, like, at the same time as as the snowmobile thing where Bruce Willis is right in front of the colonel and he shoots him, but only his snowmobile gets lit up.
Yeah.
And he even says the line, he's like, I had them in like dead to rights. I don't know what the fuck is happening. And he like looks at the magazine. Then it cuts to Grant killing that extra guy that came along,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't supposed to be there. Then it cuts to him shooting up
The police station.
the airport police station.
Well, so when he comes in, he's like, Grant is in on it. I was like, how the fuck could he possibly know that? I was like, that is so dumb. And then he does the shooting thing. I was like, that is the most brilliant part of the movie. Like that's the best
Yes, it
writing of the
is.
movie. Like it is. I didn't even connect because I didn't watch it again, but I didn't even connect the fact that he's like, I had him dead to rights. How can I not shoot them? Because he had the blue ones. So yeah, that is the best part of the movie, like bar none.
And this is probably the last time I'm going to mention her, but my sister-in-law was watching this and she totally missed it. And she sees Bruce Willis shooting up Carmine and she's like, well, damn, I knew he had enough, but I didn't know he was going to go like that far with it.
Yeah. So I do like, by the way, Barnes is like, hey, I know that it's this neighborhood where that they're probably at. And then there's kind of a line where he's like, we've checked every house. This church is the last place we're going to check. It's like,
Yeah.
That's kind of sucks. It took you forever. So yeah, the whole snowmobile chase happens. He goes back. Then they're like, all right, the building is booby trapped, so we can't do anything about it. And he's like, and we would need that. Like, I thought they took over. I don't know. Like I guess they took. I'm just so
Well,
confused why they couldn't start landing the planes once the bad guys left. Like
okay, that's true, but well, because I don't think they couldn't get
comedic.
the lights. They couldn't get the lights back on. There was no way for them to get the lights back on because the way that they would do it is they would have to interfere with the bad guys' technology, which was booby trapped.
Which was maybe wasn't actually booby trap because I was also like, why is Grant like, oh, these are booby traps? All right, we should probably get out of here.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah,
stroll
that's
out of there. It's like, why is it not blowing up?
yeah,
What's happening?
that's the other thing too.
I
Now
just don't. I just don't think it's explained very well what they need to accomplish to land the planes. Like they're, it doesn't seem like they're like, all right, this is what we need to do, and then
I
it's
think at
like,
the end it is. I think at the end where you have the fire trail, and then they're like,
but
everyone can land
that's just an
now.
accident. That's just an accident.
Yeah, but they needed the lights. Obviously, if they had the lights, they could just land.
But what was the plan before the, the fire? There was no explanation of what we need to do here.
David, I would
Like,
love to
and
talk to.
why does McLean need to stop the bad guys in order to get the planes to land?
Because they're the ones controlling on
How are they
the
controlling it anymore? They left where they were controlling it from.
David, I would love to get in on this with you, but we forgot to talk about the guy who got an icicle through his eye.
Yeah, that was great.
And now we did. Now we talked about it.
Yeah, it was good. I don't know what else to say about it. Also, they basically did a snowmobile joust with automatic weapons.
Yeah. That's how he knew his was blank.
The other guy's wasn't though, but he also just missed.
He got the snowmobile. He blew it up.
No, the other guy blew it up. Stewart blew it up, but the guy that he was jousting with was like a different guy. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I
That
just
hit a gas
it was
tank, and that's why
cool.
it
It
blew
was
up.
cool. And then Grant is a bad guy, and then the news guy causes a panic in the airport, and then the wife grabs a stun gun and stun guns that guy, and then he's like, "Hey, reporter, I need you to fly me over there because I can't get over there because all the people going crazy." And she's like, "You give me the story, I'll have your baby." And he said, "Not the kind of ride I'm looking for."
Yeah, it's good.
I also love the line, "I don't like to fly." And they're like, "Well, why are you doing this?" He's like, "I don't like to lose either."
It's also good. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Like I mentioned before, I think the last 30 minutes of this movie really is awesome. The
I
writing gets better, the action gets better, and then the ending is I truly think, maybe apart from the first one, the ending is one of the most satisfying endings to the franchise slash any action movie ever.
the plane exploding.
Just everything. Just like the fight on the wing,
Yes.
him finding the fuselage, him pulling it out, Stewart not noticing. They all get back into the plane and they're all celebrating. And then you have the line at the beginning of the movie that he's like, I don't know why he quit smoking, and that's why he pulled out the lighter. So then it's the setup that he has a lighter on him,
Yeah.
and it's the yippee ki motherfucker, you
Yeah.
know.
I do love that. I love the fight on the wing of the plane. I love Grant going through the engine, and then yeah, I mean that's all great. Yippee ki motherfucker! But then Barnes with another set of just terrible dialogue, which we don't need, by the way. This is completely unnecessary. Could have been written much better. But Barnes is like, they used the fire to sea and to land. All the other planes can do that too. And then you hear over the radio another pilot go, if they can do it, so can we.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, and then Trudeau has like the biggest shit, like smile on his face, like yeah, you know.
He's like, that dialogue shit. I'm not going to say any of it. Someone else can say that.
I wonder if that is what happened. He's like, hey, you're supposed to say your line. He's like, nah, he can have both lines.
So then he's like screaming, Holly, Holly. They get together.
Yeah,
And she's like, they told me they were terrorists. She's like, yeah, I heard that too. Funny line. Then the news people are watching them hug, and he's like, oh, that's a beautiful scene. And she's like, it is. And she covers up the camera as like, yeah, we can just let them have this. We don't have to record everything. So she's learned her lesson.
there was a line I believe Holly said. Oh yeah, she goes, "Why does this always happen to us?"
Happened to her. She was just fucking riding on a plane for a few extra hours.
I don't, she wanted to be included. Okay.
She didn't do shit, Holly. But then at the end, the cop is like, "Hey, you got this parking ticket?" And he rips it up because it's Christmas. I was like, his car is still impounded, though. Is someone going to go get that for him?
Someone should go get it and pay for it.
Or maybe if the cop drove up in it, that would have been, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't doing it. He clearly wasn't stopping the plane.
That's true. Yeah, because he was stuck in traffic last time we saw him. He was like, they were yelling at a taxi cab last time we saw them.
So obviously, I like pointed out a lot of the problems I had with this movie. It still rips. It was still great. Bruce Willis
Yep.
was great. The action was great. The twist is so good that it makes up for a lot of like the things that I found like deficient with it.
Agreed.
It's still awesome. I'm really excited. I know you said it's downhill for here from here, but I am really excited for the third one and Sam
Look,
Jackson.
Sam Jackson is awesome. There's a lot of great moments. I think you suffer from the same things, though. You suffer from it's a long setup, it's long winded, and there's some like dead space, but you still suffer from some of the awesome it's not suffering at that point if it's good, right? But you still have some of the good stuff that you have in the third that you have here, where there's some really awesome set pieces and there's like a really satisfying ending, and I believe there's a twist in that one too, so it's good.
Yeah, I it does make me wonder though, because you're like, yeah, the fourth one doesn't hold up. Obviously, we've heard the fifth one in Russia is garbage. It's like, why is this series like so beloved when it's like the first one's amazing and then it's like it's kind of doesn't, you know.
If you think about it, when people talk about Die Hard as a franchise or like it being beloved, they're really only talking about the first one. Like 99% of the time, people are only referring to the first one.
Yeah. I mean, I think people like the original trilogy, but I think they recognize that like, you know, it is the first one is kind of the king, so.
And the thing that the first one does that none of the other ones ever do, again, is contain it in one location and kind of chop off the arms and legs of John McClane, forcing him to like get out of it using using not just his bronze but his brains too. And you see a little bit in that, but I think you just see less and less of it as you go.
Now the real question becomes at the end of this, 1 year from today, will you still know the name Richard Jewell? Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon.
And I finally watched Die Hard 2.